Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Cross Country Edition, and my guest for this week's show is none other than freshman runner on the women's cross country team here at Menlo College, Susana Garcia. Susie, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, a few weeks ago, Hannah Dumaine told me about a little bit about the quad that you guys live in.
Yes.
And she also mentioned that you guys might dress up as minions for Halloween, which very quickly devolved into the four of you being tacos for Halloween. Has there been any movement on dressing up as Halloween or dressing up on Halloween as tacos or as minions or as something completely unrelated? Or what's the plan here? What are we going to do?
When we heard about the tacos, we were a little unsure, but I think we're leaning towards minions only because Genesis and Rosalina and I have overalls. So we realized that's the easy step. So we'll just have to go shopping for Hannah's overalls.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're in college, so obviously money probably a little important for you. You don't want to just break the bank on these random taco outfits. I don't know how that would work. Yeah, I still don't think I've ever actually seen a taco costume before. Mm-hmm. But that idea was just, I'm still laughing about it to this moment. Like the thought of the four of you dressing up as tacos or like some combination of food or be it like the actual ingredients within a taco. I don't know. But that thought has just been like, I'm actually somewhat disappointed that you're not going to be tacos. The minions will work. I agree.
Yeah,
the minions is going to work.
I think it's more safe that way.
It's safer. It's easier to acquire the elements of the costume, I feel like, as opposed to a giant taco suit. Yeah. And y'all are a little bit shorter, so it kind of works, right? Yeah. Like that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. It is Despicable Me or the Minion movie or any one of those, is that like up on your list of favorite movies?
Yes, it is actually. I was super obsessed with the Minions, so I had a lot of things that were Minions. This was when the Minion movie came out, and I think it's just like stuck with me. So I'm glad that we might be doing the Minion costumes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a perfect fit. I know at one point in my life I had, and I might even still had it. I had a Minion T-shirt. Like with one of them, I don't know which one, it was Bob or whatever, and he's there and he's got this confused look on his face and it says "Why?" Like that was the quote on the shirt, and then I think I had a Minions beanie, although I don't ever remember wearing it. Okay. But that's probably what you're going, like, because what are you going to do for the costume? Like, are you just going to wear all yellow? Are you going to go like some type of hat? What's the go there?
I don't know. I was just thinking the basic yellow shirt, overalls, but we might get fancy and throw in those like goggles that they have. Yeah. Who knows?
I think you kind of have to go goggles just to completely, it's still cheap. Yeah. And you can kind of go all in with it right there at the same time. Mm-hmm. I like that idea. Mm-hmm. It's slightly better than tacos, but maybe a little bit less funny. Now, it was also said a few weeks back that you're a very independent person, someone who enjoys going places by yourself. Now, this was specifically referenced to like Safeway or something randomly like that.
Just local.
But let's take it a little bit broader. Would you ever, or have you ever gone maybe somewhere on your own, like a vacation, like you've traveled by yourself? If so, where would you want to go?
I definitely do want to travel by myself. I think that idea became, it was brought up after I heard about backpacking on like YouTube videos and stuff, and I thought it was super cool. So I definitely want to go to a Spanish-speaking country because I speak Spanish, and I don't know, maybe just go by myself on a missionary trip and like meet new people and stuff. So yeah, definitely an idea.
Yeah, and the possibilities are endless, and you're also at the point in your life where I think it's very attainable to go all of these places, and especially by yourself too. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I'm no massive traveler by any stretch of the imagination, but the one thing that I can say from having gone a few places solo, they're very much so like holistic experiences where you can find out a lot about yourself, find out a lot about your life, and especially if you're going on like a mission trip like that, definitely a very worthwhile investment. And I think that's something that would be, up at the top of my bucket list too. Sure. I mean, you just have to find the time.
Yeah, that's
and now that you're in school and now that you're in cross country season, a little bit difficult.
A little, yeah.
And a little bit more difficult when you factor in that you'll be running track in the spring as well.
That's right.
Now let's talk about the cross-country team here for a second, and things are shaping up very well for both of the cross-country teams at Menlo. But recently, I want to talk about the women's team here. Right off the bat, you guys got into the receiving votes category in the NAIA polls for the first time in program history, so congratulations about that. How satisfying is that for you ladies to know that you've made some program history?
It's really satisfying, almost kind of crazy to think about, only because we started from no girls to just having a really solid girls team. So that's really exciting, and it definitely gets us pumped up to see what else we have, because we're only getting started.
Absolutely. There's still 2 races left in the season, plus the potential for the NAIA meet afterwards. And it's been a lot of work to get the program at the level it is now. You mentioned how there was nobody at first, and then just a couple runners, now a full-on squad. What has been the biggest driver for success that you ladies have had this year?
I think the biggest drive is just knowing that we have nothing to lose. Like, we're just putting it all out there. All of our hard work for the season is finally showing, and I think that's just really incredible.
Yeah, and it's been incredible for both you and for the men's team, so let's give some love to them. They're up to number 26 in the NAIA poll, 1 spot away from being ranked for the first time ever. How do your interactions with them help motivate you, and also vice versa? How have you been able to help motivate the men's team?
I think just the whole women's and men's team is just so loving, and that family vibe is just there. And then I think because the men's team is double our size, you can definitely see that brotherhood in there. And we just know like when to do the work and when to have fun. So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, and it gives you something to strive for too. The larger your group gets, you want to still maintain that inclusivity, that type of, I guess in your sense would be the sisterhood in that case. And I mean, it's led to a lot of success for them, so hopefully you're not too far behind, and you're both in the polls, so that's a good start. Now, this week the Oaks go to William Jessup for another pre-conference race, and this was on the course that the GSAC Championship was run on last year. What are your goals for this race individually, and what are your goals as a team for this race?
My goals individually is just to run as a pack with Genesis and Rosalina. I think that's definitely helped us get out into the race. And as the women's team, it's definitely just to race against our conference, the conference teams, and just know that we're confident in ourselves and definitely run with fire in our bellies, as I say. Yeah,
and you're up to number 3 in the conference too, so you want to leave a couple of them in the dust, and maybe creep into the top 2 after this one.
Yeah, definitely maybe not beat them necessarily for a second, but definitely just be up there and know that we can confidently run for the conference race in 3 weeks.
Exactly. Start to creep up in the rearview mirror a little bit closer on them. Objects in the mirror do appear closer than they actually are in real life. But in this case, the Oaks are actually right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Susie, let's get into the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I'm going to ask you 3 off-the-wall questions. Give me your best answers.
Okay.
Question number 1, which teammate would be the most obnoxious taco for Halloween?
There we go with the tacos.
Of course.
I would have to say probably just not one person, probably just a quad altogether. If you have all of us together, I think we're pretty obnoxious and loud.
I mean, I've never seen the 4 of you together, surprisingly, so I'm going to take your word for it.
Right.
Although when I was writing the question, I had to pause and think, what makes an obnoxious taco in the first place? Like, how would a taco even be? I don't know.
You just typed it up and we're just
gonna
leave it in there.
You know what? Just YOLO. I don't really care. And you gave a good answer. All of you together would just be obnoxious tacos. I love it. Question number 2. Which teammate do you think would reel in the most candy while trick-or-treating?
I'd have to give that to myself, only because I am the shortest, I think, and probably the one that looks more childlike in the scene of trick-or-treating.
Okay, you said it, not me.
Yeah.
I was thinking it, but you said it. So I'm glad you admitted that. Yes. So I didn't have to go down that road. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I just think you're right with that one. There are some other people, like I mean, I'm probably thinking the men's team, but some of them look a little bit older. They show up with the pillowcase, and they're probably not going to get too many good stuff. And then question number 3, if given just a map and no GPS, which teammate would get lost within the first hour of going somewhere on a solo trip?
I would have to give that to Hannah Dumaine for sure, only because she recently told us about a time that she got lost right before heading to a race, to one of her high school races. So
oh my goodness.
Probably her. I'll give it to her.
And the irony of that is she told me a couple weeks back that she can go without technology, and she can be just fine.
Yeah. I think it just might be the first few minutes that she'll freak out, but I think we would all get it after a while.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, no one uses just a paper map.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's also another layer to this. Like, I can't even honestly tell you if I don't think I've ever used one before either. But, like, if, let's say, you were devoid of all other technology and you just had a map and you were told drive.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't know if Hannah would be able to figure that out. I'm not sure if many of us would be able to figure that out.
Honestly, yeah, we rely a lot on the GPS now.
Yeah, like highway signs are great, but I don't think they're going to fully get you to where you want to go.
Right.
You want the peace and mind of having your phone right up there on the dash with Google Maps or Waze, whichever you prefer. I'm a Google Maps guy. And you want your exact destination in tow.
Yeah. And it reroutes you as well.
And then it reroutes you when you undoubtedly go the wrong way, when you miss a turn, and recalculating now because you are an idiot and you missed your cutoff.
There you go.
One of these days, I just want my GPS to tell me that.
We should do an update, for a little bit.
Yeah,
just as an April Fool's prank or something.
I feel like there are apps that do that already.
They might, yeah.
Like, I know Waze, it doesn't have something quite along that line, but you can change the voice to different things. Like, I was on a trip, I think like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and we changed the Waze voice to a boy band. Now it was just like the lead singer of the boy band, but it was like, police reported ahead, and it was really funny. In half a mile, turn right. It was very funny, and so we left it on that the whole time. No, not mine. I have never been the front of a boy band, and I never plan on being the front in a boy band.
Okay.
I also think boy bands are dying, and I can't dance, so none of that would work out very well in my favor. But I'll stick to being the voiceover for a GPS, like Waze. That'll work. Susie, thanks for joining me on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, folks. The cross-country teams are in action this weekend. They're heading up to Rockland for their final race of the regular season. It's a pre-conference race, the Warrior Invitational, set to take place on Saturday up in Rockland. And we'll have complete coverage on the Menlo Athletics website, www.menloathletics.com. And then it's time for the conference meet, the conference championship race early in November. We invite you to tune in to the next episode of Unrooted Cross Country Edition. It will be right before the conference championship, and Susana Garcia will select the final interviewee in 2019 by me, Brian Brownfield, right here on the show. Until then, we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.